I'm glad I'm reading the scriptures because I can recognize that something is dreadfully wrong with everybody pretty much in this world. And I believe a handful of people that something is right with, that they get it. I believe I'm probably never going to bump into them. But I bump into the idiots all day long, and I correct the idiots all day long. And if anybody is watching my show, guess what you know? You know that all of these leaders, all of these spiritual leaders, Dow, the camps, you name it, all these people that challenge rap the news, you notice that they all flawed and they all incorrect and their logic is wrong as hell, and the most thing that they could probably come up with on me with, and it's not a sin, you can look it up all day, it's not a sin, is I'm using English swear words. Our language is Hebrew. I could give a fuck for this cursed language of English, and I just could. But I know that they're not perfect. I know that they sinners, and I go to their pages and I watch them. Somebody say, "Don't talk about Pastor Dow." Who gives a damn about that punk ass faggot? I go to his page and I watch him, and I watch his congregation. You know what they lack? They lack really getting to know each other under close quarters. They all got their little shed or little hut that they go to and they live their own little personal lives, and I know it's people there that's probably doing some witchcraft and spells on them and whatever else they can put them under, because there's some wicked people. They'll join that cult just to, and it's some evil people that'll join that cult for that reason. And he caught people. He got wind of somebody working black magic in one of the trailers. And guess what he thought? He thought he could get rid of the person doing black magic coming into the camp in spirit form or something like that by saying silver cord. It just is real dumb. This is like all these devil worshippers. They think if they get into the pentagram, they have protection from the devil. Don't even work like that. They deceived. He's deceived. The whole world is deceived. And it's kind of like nuts. I guess God wanted to be this way where you can't really stand to be around these people because everybody is so damn deceived, and everyone thinks they know what the hell they talking about, and everybody think you're like them. I had one of Dow's worshipers. You can look at the comments on some of my videos, and you get Dow's worshipers come and say, "Don't talk about Dow. He's a man of God," and you can't prove it. And then basically, then why am I correcting him? Why am I right? Why is he doing everything like in the last video I did about him? Everything God said don't do. And I put the scripture down, and then I showed him and his congregation doing the things that God said don't do directly, in degradation to the laws of God, and they think they live in some righteous life, and he ignorant, highly ignorant as hell. Like, God is coming back to destroy pride. He hates pride and arrogance, and this man is filled with nothing but pride and arrogance. And somehow he thinks that he gonna make it on the day of judgment, on the day of the Lord. He ain't gonna make it. He gonna pay a price for all that pride and whatever he's showing off and bragging about that. He got very little of. And so you can't get people to hear. And I understand Methuselah now, and Noah, and pretty much all the prophets, that these people are, like I said, are blind people. And I can do videos all day, and like I said, people think you're on some kick to prove that you know everything, or you on some kick to prove that you're smarter than everyone else, or you got somebody say you got all the answers right. I got it when I'm going by the scriptures, and I actually can read. It's a lot of people out there, and here's what you do. You heard, don't be gay, and that he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and then you go be gay, without even giving it a second thought. That's the problem, and that's why you're going to hell. And it's a lot of people that said, don't do drugs, don't fornicate, don't do illicit sex, don't have sex out of wedlock, you know, and that's exactly what you'll go do. And you think somehow you're a good person and you're going to wash this off in the blood of Jesus, or whatever you think you're going to do. Somehow God is going to hear your reasoning and your excuses, and it's not the type of God that you're serving. You got to really understand God, that he's coming back with a vengeance against sinners. A vengeance against sinners. So what I could tell you, man, you know, as everybody is, you know, like I said about the Dow Ranch, and I noticed that they smiley face. People who've been to the ranch say, you know, sometimes they get into debates and arguments and stuff like that, but they work it all out and it's joyous in the end. And I'm a man who have lived in tight quarters with a bunch of people. And when you're in tight quarters with a bunch of people, especially if like you're in a bomb shelter or some place where people can't escape and they would have to sit there and deal with each other, it's totally damn different, you know. And people have no patience, and you're going to realize how ugly people are inside once you live in tight quarters with them. And it's like I said, with my people, we lived in tight quarters, you know, 8 people in a 3-bedroom, and basically we didn't go out and party and hang out with the friends and the neighbors and do what they call is normal in society. We sat there and got to know each other. And you know what we found out about each other? Each individual in its own way is shitty. Each individual in its own way don't hear the next man. They just waiting for their turn to talk. Each individual had these ideals that's not in the book and not according to God's law. You know, when you really get down to the nitty gritty and you really examine people for what they're worth, you find that people are shitty. And you find, like I found out, you know, and this is what I learned about living in close quarters with people, you know, like people be talking about of like minds are going to be in a bomb shelter together, they'll all kill each other. They have no idea. You find out every little thing, good thing, bad thing, nasty thing, when you live in close quarters, you know, and you find out a bunch of imperfections real quick. When everybody can just go and come as they please, you know, you get lost in transition of doing your own shit, where you can't really see people. When you're a star, like they always say, stars, they can't really see people. They're in some bubble. Well, the majority of people is in some bubble, and they can't escape this bubble of delusions, you know. And so I said in my close quarter situation that we all have to work on our flaws. We all have to stop building up these walls and having these masks that we wear, and everybody has a mask of who they want you to see. This is who I am, you know, and they present this false image of a beast to people. Like, this is I'm the delightful person, I'm the well-mannered person, I'm the person who don't use swear words. Hey, I'm not slutty, and I don't do these things, and I don't have any flaws and stuff like that. I'm no rapist, I'm no molester, I'm no sexual predator, I'm no killer, I'm no drug addict, I'm none of these, you know. And then they turn out to be the worst chaotic person that you could ever imagine in close quarters. And people don't even understand what close quarters is. You think you can deal with people in close quarters? Get you locked up in one room with like 8 people. Just one room for a month. Y'all be ready to rip each other's head off. And guess what? When that month is up, everybody's going to go their separate way and not deal with those people for a long time. Not for a long time. Do it for a year. Do it for 10 years. Boy. And so anyone who's done that, like I've seen some Israelite camps, people that started Israelite society and basically they moved in all different types of families in one house where they could all save their money up and then buy a ranch or something, and they actually saved their money up and bought a ranch, and I guarantee you they know every up, down, high, and low of everybody that lived there. It took them a long time to do this, and they actually end up buying it. It's some black Hebrew Israelites, and they bought 80 acres, and I know they went through pure hell, because in those close quarters you got the devil, and he's working it against everybody, and he's putting malicious stuff in everybody's head, and then you got all of these little faults that people got that they keep hidden because they don't want you to know the secret person. And I've been around this so long that I can walk up to you and pretty much tell you what your secret person is. I can see through you. I can see through all your superficial shit. It's easy for me to walk through people, and that's why I do it so easily on YouTube. That anybody who challenged me, I just walk through them. I know their ups, their downs, their highs and lows. I know what hurts and gets to the core of them immediately. And I say those things that get to your core, because I know where the core is. And basically, you'll leave me real quick. You know why? Because I can spot you for who you are. So if you are a rapist or a molester or a freaking predator or a damn killer, I know you. If you are a drug addict, if you hide stuff, if you a sexual addict, I know you. And I'm gonna point you out. If you disbelieve, I know you disbelieve, and I'm gonna put pressure on your ass so you expose your own self. And so this is close quarters, and so this is what I believe all of the congregations lack. And somehow I believe that when God come back, those people that going to get refined, they're going to have to go through close quarters like my family and all the rest of the believers who isolated themselves away from people, so that they can understand what I know, and that if you're not going 100% by the scriptures and the word of God, you're not friends, and you ain't gonna never get along. You're not friends. I'm gonna say this real quick before I go off. There were these it was about 13 people that was on a yacht, and they were all best buds. They're all white, they're all best buddies, and they were on a yacht, and they went sailing out at sea, and they got their little bottled waters and whatever the hell they brought, the little chef thing in the boat and all that kind of stuff, and they got way out there, man. And true story, they got out there, and basically something happened where their boat capsized, and luckily they all got, some people drowned, but the remainder of them, which I believe was about 8 people or so, was put in close quarters on a little bitty boat, one of those little rowboats, and basically all 8 of them was in the rowboat, and sharks was roaming around that rowboat. So now you got fear, you got death, you got lack of water, lack of resources and everything else. And basically they all they hope was in God, and none of them called on God. None of them did. All they hope was in God. And basically one by one they hated each other. One by one they told each other what they really felt about each other. One by one they presented their insanity, because they really are insane, hiding behind the mask of fun, and makeup and joy, and they were pissing and shitting and bleeding on the bottom of the boat, and it became overwhelming, the smell and everything else. No, they had no order where no one said, okay, everybody do their business in a corner over here, and then we'll shovel it off the boat. No, since no one can talk to each other or say anything, everybody just sat there and pissed and shit on themselves, man. on in this little boat. Nobody can say, "Hey, look, turn around. Let me take this dump over the side of the boat. Hopefully, a shark don't bite my ass or something." And then they start going insane one by one, and they did. And so, out of 13 people, I think it was 2 remaining people. And so, the last couple of 4 people, the woman, she died in all the feces and piss and shit that was at the bottom of the boat. You shit on yourself, and then I don't know how they did that without wiping their ass, but they did it. And then she died. And then it was 3 more people left, and the one guy, he lost his damn mind. So he said, "Holy shit, I see 7-Eleven." And this is true. He said, "I am going to get me the biggest big gulp." And it's like, dude, you are acting fucking crazy. There is no 7-Eleven. He said, "No, there's a 7-Eleven right there, and I'm going to get up." He says, "You're going to get killed, man. These sharks are going to..." "I'm going to 7-Eleven." And they really didn't even stop the guy. He walked right overboard and fucking got ate by the sharks. I mean, them sharks devoured his ass, and blood was everywhere. He couldn't even snap out of the delusion until the sharks was biting the fuck out of his ass, And so now it was just one bitch and one nigga left. Mind you, they white. And I don't discriminate. One bitch and one nigga left. That was left, and that's what they are at the end of the day. And one dead body, which was the bitch's friend. And both of them starving and thirsty as shit. So the guy says, "Hey, let's eat this bitch." And she says, "No, you're not gonna touch her." He said, "Come on, I'm hungry, and this bitch is dead. We are gonna starve to death if we don't do something right now to save ourselves." So somebody is starting to be rational some type of way. "Let's eat this bitch, man. Why don't we just cut chunks off of her fucking ass?" And this is real. "And just eat this bitch, man, little by little, man, before she rots. And it'll be a waste of the body." "No, you're not touching my friend." They got into some skirmish. Somehow the bitch won, and the guy went overboard in the dark. And the sharks just ate this other dude, and now he worried about the sharks going to get him. And he's swimming back to the boat. Well, when you reach up for the boat, you can't just reach your hand up and climb in the boat. And he yelling for this bitch to help him, and this bitch is holding her knees and shaking. She don't want to help him out, and he's like, "Help me out, you bitch!" And she wouldn't help him out, and the guy is the one that's telling the story. And then basically, somehow, by a miracle, he figured out a way to get back in that boat. By the grace of God, he got back in that boat. And he just looked at her and he said, "You worthless. How can I ever be friends with you, you worthless?" So this is close quarters right here. This is what I'm talking about. And then they didn't talk to each other. And then this big ass boat came by while they was both sleeping in the morning, and they screamed for the boat, and somehow they got saved. They got saved. And he said she would never remain friends with that bitch ever again in life, because in close quarters the real person came out. And I think everybody need to know everybody, instead of this pretend superficial mask that everybody got on, playing masquerade in life, hiding behind a brick wall and hiding their secret shit from everybody else. Everybody is shitty, and I'm telling you that from experience. Everybody is shitty, and everybody is hiding some shit. Everybody got something they don't tell nobody. Everybody does. And that's the way to look at everybody, like garbage, until they can prove otherwise. This is Rap the News.